We're just going to awkwardly look at each other and
just vibe for a second.
All right. Good morning. Good morning. Hello, and welcome to episode number 8 of Tea with Abbie, where we talk about the tea, the truth of what it is like to be a first-time founder, a company here in the accelerator program, and a female navigating tech spaces or entrepreneurial spaces. And shout out to Capital Factory for a little tea sponsorship, and cheers to my guest this morning, Sarah Gardner.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me today.
I'm so happy for you to be here. Welcome, and I'm so excited to talk about your business that you founded called Established&Co or Established&Co.
We can go with either. The Established&Co is now officially trademarked.
Oh, that's
so
exciting.
you can pick
Congrats.
whichever floats your boat on that. So
Cool. So if you needed to give me a quick elevator pitch of what your business is, go.
Yes. So Established&Co is a fashion-forward, collegiate licensed apparel company. And I started about 2 years ago, but we are trying to bring new fashion-forward college apparel styles to the college market.
So necessary.
Yes, there has been a major gap in the market for this sort of product, and it just hasn't existed before. And so being a college student, I noticed this while I was at Baylor University and decided to do something about it. So here we are. That's
cool because, man, college students, the option is like sweatpants and sweatshirts, and it's so bummy. And if you are viewing, if you are watching this, you can see, look at this stylish jacket. Like, come on, that's amazing. So this is one of the products as well?
Yes, we just recently started doing collegiate denim. And as you know, denim is so popular right now. Everybody's wearing it. And so, our goal is to bring those fashionable fashion trends to the college market where it didn't previously exist. And like you said, college fashion is kind of frumpy.
It's so
like,
frumpy.
let's be honest. It is a lot of sweatpants, especially in Texas, big T-shirts like covering Nike shorts.
That phenomenon, at least up in the Northeast where I went to school, was not a thing.
What was it like up in the Northeast?
Okay, it was. This was the uniform, kind of all year round. Black leggings.
Okay.
A North Face pullover.
Yep.
And Uggs.
Okay, that sounds about right.
Standard.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it's the Northeast, so it's cold, so that you're pretty much wearing that the entire duration of the school year because school starts at the end of summer and finishes in the early spring. So it's like you don't hit the warm weather. Warm weather attire, plain white, like Hanes-styled V-necks and leggings for when it's hot.
Okay, yeah. So like no
so
fashion
boring.
sense
No
whatsoever.
fashion sense. And then I think maybe the only piece of college wear I still have is a pair of shorts that say my college's name across the butt.
Okay, right.
But,
I mean, who's still wearing that?
No, and I would love. I think if I had a nice piece of like a legacy piece, like a jacket or something, I would absolutely wear that out.
Right, and that's what we're finding too is people want really awesome pieces that they can keep for years and wear to football games or athletic events, and they're looking for fashionable ways to show their school pride. And that's why we're here, and we're trying to do it. We're trying to make it happen.
So take me back to the beginning. 2 years ago, you were in school, and talk to me about what it was like to get this idea. Like, why did you get this idea, and then what did it take for you to get it up off the ground and running to turn into this actual business?
Yeah. So my senior year of college, I was in an entrepreneurship class. It was my senior year course. My brother was actually my business partner, but we had to submit an end of the year project. And when you're a senior, you're like, I'm ready to get out of here. Like, what can we submit to finish off, before graduation? And we had initially had this cool fitness technology app that we wanted to try to use for this project. The class was basically a class where the university would give students money to kickstart these businesses. And so this tech idea kind of fell through for us. And I have a bit of a fashion background, and that's something I feel like I thrive in, and I'm really good at it. I love it. And I was like, well, why don't we do an apparel business? And I'd been thinking for a long time about, college apparel and how much I loved cool vintage college pieces from the past, and how we could translate that into university apparel for students with a new business idea. So it all started in a entrepreneurship class, and we ended up receiving some money from Baylor to get it started.
Wow.
But I will say that the business, we are licensed now, but the original business idea was to try to do unlicensed college apparel. And so attempting to do unlicensed would basically mean using university colors and maybe the mascot, or like for Baylor as an example, our mascot are the Bears. So creating a jacket with green and gold and maybe putting the word Bears on it. But that you still can't do that because it's still infringing upon what a college would allow, or what a consumer would reasonably believe is a piece of their apparel.
Right.
And so funny enough, we actually ended up getting a cease and desist letter from Baylor University. And this kind of goes back to our biggest fail, I think, was attempting to do unlicensed college products.
So you had actually put products out?
We did.
Via this. This was the first push of how it all came out.
Yes. We wanted to avoid having to pay these large licensing fees and the trouble of going through the licensing company. But at the time, we didn't realize that that was kind of a slippery slope in this business. And you really shouldn't do that. Yeah. But being, an early graduate, I was like, we'll get away with it. Like, it's fine.
Yeah. I mean, and you don't know if you don't try.
Right. But I think that choice to be unlicensed and then in turn receiving a fun legal threat.
You better knock this off.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. But see that, I guess, lapse in early judgment actually catapulted our business into getting that license. And Baylor was really gracious about it. And they suggested kindly that we just go ahead and apply for a university license. And so that's how the licensing route really came to be with Established.
That's really cool. And I think you just highlighted such a really important quality successful entrepreneurs have, I've been finding, is that you didn't wait to try to do it the right way. You had an idea and you went for it. And even when it kind of got a little crappy and, there was some flack coming your way for how you were doing it, you made the choice to pivot and continue moving forward. I'm sure, did you feel that when Baylor first handed you that cease and desist letter, were you like, oh man, I don't know if we want to keep going on, or is it clear to you like, okay, let's figure this out and keep moving?
No, absolutely. I think I had, put a lot of hope into the business, and it was something I really believed in. And I really didn't think that somebody my age or my inexperience level and a lack of funds could enter into official licensed product. It just seemed so out of touch, and it still is. And so I think I was pretty disappointed, but my parents, who have been completely supportive and amazing throughout the whole process, they were like, you're gonna do this. We're gonna apply, and if you get rejected, we're gonna know that that's, it wasn't meant to be.
Right.
But we ended up applying and we got it. So that was
the green light.
Exactly.
So now you're working with multiple schools on getting licenses for their logos, colors, school stuff, right?
Yes.
And then you're taking those things and you're applying them to designs you're creating. Where does like your inspiration for fashion come from, and how are you taking your ideas to like stuff is up on the website for people to buy?
Sure. So a lot of my inspiration, and I do all the design work myself.
Sweet.
Yeah. And so I think a lot of the inspiration comes from the vintage college apparel of the past. So if you go online and you search like cool vintage college apparel, there's just so much neat, cool stuff out there. And I really got inspired by that. I love vintage clothes and I love, yeah. And so I think just seeing those designs and somehow recreating those through the different universities and, inspired by those vintage pieces is kind of how I design things. And we've gotten a really positive response from college students who are currently in college to their grandparents. They love the vintage inspiration because, the parents and grandparents can relate to that too. So
classic.
it all really comes from the retro college apparel. That's where our inspiration comes from.
That's cool. Wow. Well, congratulations like on building such an awesome, amazing business in what to me is the most vulnerable time in your life when you're coming off of this 4-year high. I just remember so distinctly how unsure of I was of my life and who I was when I was leaving this safe little bubble of my 4-year undergrad program. And I just gotta say, I am just totally impressed and inspired by, your gumption. And you're like, I'm gonna take this project, I'm gonna grab it, and I'm gonna go forward. And that is just so cool. So, good job.
Yeah, well, thank you. I think that it's taken me a while to get here, and I didn't always believe that I could do it. I think this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm confident in that. But it's been scary. There have definitely been some times where I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Is this really the right thing to do? But, I'm confident in the business. It's been proven in the market. We know there's a demand for the product. So I think, now I'm at a point where I can, be confident in that and say, we're going to take this all the way. We're going to take this as far as we can go.
Cool. When you are feeling, or I guess when I am feeling stressed or in the weeds, we got a lot of clients going on. We're doing biz dev. The tech team needs a check-in. What are we doing for marketing? We're supposed to shoot something today. When I get in those kinds of scenarios, I think back on various kind of like highlight reels to remind myself, no, like you said, this is a viable product. People want it. We're doing something good. Take a breath. Keep moving. When you hit those hard, tough points, is there anything that you recall as a favorite milestone or a goal, or just like a really awesome moment for your business and for yourself that you like remember?
Well, I think I have two that kind of come to mind. The first being that, that milestone of we applied for the license after receiving the nasty letter. It wasn't nasty. It was actually very nice. And then, getting accepted. And I think initially being licensed was, that's what really changed everything for us. But I think another one was, the college licensing world is very, it's not the most interesting and it's very complex. But one of the biggest goals that we had was attempting to get our product into collegiate bookstores. So these are going to be those college bookstores on campus where you buy your textbooks or all your apparel when you first arrive.
Yeah, and on Parents' Weekend, that's where your parents are going.
Everybody buys everything, right? And so I think another major milestone for us was receiving a purchase order from the Baylor bookstore.
So cool.
And yeah, we had been in talks with them, and I personally spoke to the manager and met with her, and she was just so gracious and loved the vision that we had. And she was like, I'm going to try to get you in here. And getting into college bookstores is not easy. They have these global management companies that make all the buying decisions. And so we really had to impress upon them our vision and that we had great product that people wanted. And so we were able to do that. And, we have some product in one of the Baylor bookstores now. So that's really exciting. I think that was a point where I realized students and parents don't just want this product, but there are big corporate companies that see what we're doing as well. These big retailers think we're worthy too. And so I think that was a really exciting time for us.
Absolutely. Validation is definitely critical in this process of starting something. And that first customer that buys, the first subscription package, the first whatever jacket, it's just so critical that those early adopters. And Baylor will always have that little soft spot in your story, as being that
that was
amazing.
My first one.
Yeah, we have a company like that too, and we just think about them just so fondly, and just how generous they've been,
and they gave
with
you
their kindness.
Your chance,
yeah,
and they were the first person to believe in you.
Exactly. How do talk to me about as you said, you are dealing with an industry that's kind of been the way it's always been, and you are finding yourselves in conversations with these licensing companies, corporations, people. What has it been like to navigate through that as a young female?
Yeah.
I guess I should say a young woman is probably more applicable here.
Sure.
How do you feel walking into those conversations?
Yeah, I think that the difference here between maybe a different consumer business is everything we do goes through approvals for the universities. And because we are replicating their brand, they want to make sure that we're portraying it appropriately.
Right.
But a lot of the whole licensing business, and as you know, college sports is a huge deal.
Yeah.
And so these big athletic sponsorships through Nike or Adidas, or these big apparel distributors are really taking over in terms of market share. And it's really about, licensing in sports. A lot of it is about money that really goes back to the universities, which is great.
Right.
But I think there are a lot of barriers to entry to licensing, collegiate licensing as an industry. They're typically very picky about who they let in. They want companies and brands that are going to well represent each of the university's brands. And I totally understand that. But I think the business is typically, and from what I've seen, there's not a lot of innovation and a lot of these companies aren't looking to create new exciting product. And I think they're just looking for mass volume, which equals mass dollars.
Right.
And so being someone who's young with new inventive ideas, I think that it does help us to stand out, but it's intimidating because a lot of who we're dealing with, they deal with these huge companies every day, like Nike and all these.
Been around forever.
Right, exactly. And so I think we're just a new player in a game that's been going on for a long time. But at the same time, I think it gives me motivation because I see such a need for innovation in this industry. And there's a need for new and exciting product. And so I think that gives me the drive to kind of get over my fear and just keep driving forward.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you deal with fear and uncertainty and self-doubt?
Yeah, I think to an extent everybody does. Starting your own business literally from scratch is very scary. There's the aspect of, is it going to work out? Am I going to fail? I think there are a lot of things that I was personally afraid of. And today I'm still, nervous about things working out 100% the way that I want them to. But I think to an extent, everybody deals with those inner questions of fear. But like I said before, if you have a product that's been market validated and, consumers want your product, you're going to be successful. It's a personal choice you have to make to say, how far am I going to take this,
Absolutely. How do you balance building this business and your your life right now.
Yeah.
Or is it your life?
Well, I really, a lot of times I don't feel like it's my life. I feel like I am, I've given everything over to my business. I think, like, as you know, being an entrepreneur, there's not a single day that goes by that you're not working on something.
Of course.
I think in a normal 9 to 5, the weekends are blocked out specifically for like your personal time.
Sure.
I've realized, especially being in retail and apparel, people buy on weekends. People buy all the time. People buy on holidays. People are always shopping.
Morning.
Oh, yeah. And so if I'm not on social media or investing in that constantly, I'm not getting traffic to my site, and, we're not getting sales. So it's a constant, there's constant investment. And until, hopefully one day when I can hire a team of amazing people that can just do everything for me, which is not going to be for a long time, it's an everyday,
So you have to be pretty dedicated then to both flexibility in your schedule, but I'm sure some sort of very consistent checks and balances.
Mm-hmm.
How is the curve of developing that sort of daily routine for your business? Because yes, it changes every day, but pinpointing what numbers you have to be checking in on. How do you? You're a one-woman show. How do you split up your time from marketing to sales to answering customer service to like bugs on the website?
Right.
Or is it always all happening all at once?
I think that I've been lucky. I haven't had too many crazy things happen at once.
Nice.
And so everything's been, I think, a good balance. I've been very fortunate. I think some people are not so lucky. But I think every day is different. It's just a matter of me planning out what I immediately have going on.
Right.
And then obviously if we have a new season of product, preparing the designs for that, and then working with our suppliers on, manufacturing that product. But honestly, people ask me about my schedule, and it's different every day.
Yep.
And I'm sure you can relate to that as well.
Sure.
There's always, some fire to put out over here, or, a photo shoot you got to do over here,
Yep.
or, working with this partner, or just, it's all over the place.
Do you have other friends who have not do you have friends?
No, I guess I don't.
Because
no.
I'll be honest, unless you're working with me, we're probably not hanging out.
Right.
It's just what it is right now. And it's been, of course, and I've attached onto, I do have a couple friends who do own their own businesses. And my co-founder, my husband. How do you feel amongst your family and your friends? Are you flying solo, or do you have other people around you who are doing not the same venture, but they're out there pursuing it? Or did everybody jump into that kind of 9 to 5 business grind?
Right. Well, I think coming from Baylor, a lot of the friends that I had, they kind of chose that traditional route of getting your degree and then applying for a job, taking the 9 to 5 job. I have some friends in the medical field.
Nothing wrong with any of those things
right.
either.
Oh, not
Amazing.
at all. Yeah.
If that's what your heart feels satisfied by. Like,
right.
Awesome.
And I think everybody should follow what they're passionate about.
Right.
And I have some friends going back to school in the medical field, and that's something that they're so passionate about too. I think that finding people with this entrepreneurial spirit about them is, it's rare. I think a lot of people either don't have the resources to start a business and pursue those passions,
right.
or there's something inside of them that isn't driving them to do it for various reasons. I think that it definitely takes a special type of person to make those sacrifices and to leave a lot of things behind to pursue their dream and to follow their dream. And I have a lot of friends from Baylor who, took the standard jobs. I also have some friends who were so interested in entrepreneurship and who were kind of following their pursuits in that arena as well,
That's
which
cool.
is really exciting. My brother, It's really awesome. He started an automotive technology company about 5 years ago with my dad. So there's another family business.
So clearly there's something in your DNA for this.
That's who we are, I guess. But he's running that now. And so it's really cool because we can share our struggles and we can really relate to each other.
So important.
And it's, as you know, it's such a different, your schedule's different. It's a different life, really.
Yeah.
And so.
But to have those people around you to be able to unload on and relate to and say, man, today has been a grind, and they know exactly what you mean.
Right.
My dad has run his own business for his whole life, and I've constantly seen that. So I've seen very explicitly what the struggle is.
Sure.
But I've also seen the freedom and the gold and the stuff that comes from, really grabbing life by the reins and taking authority for yourself. And it's those things that I remember of like, okay, this is exactly why I'm doing this, that.
Right.
Like you said, every day you wake up and you are the captain of the ship and you determine where you want to sail that day.
Right. And I think
so amazing.
Yeah. But also, there are days that go by where I'm like, I wish I had a 9 to 5.
Oh my God. Last week, I got my period on Wednesday morning. Yes, this is Tea with Abbie. This is what we talk about. I felt so crappy, and all I wanted was to be an employee so I could call out.
Right.
But
exactly. You can't.
You can't call out. You gotta show up.
And I'm envious sometimes of my friends who have, the 9 to 5s and they have the weekends to themselves, and I'm just like, I wish I had that.
Right.
But, then I have to remind myself that I'm choosing to follow my passion, and this is the path that I chose.
Yeah.
We don't have to choose this. I think that choosing to be an entrepreneur, no one's forced to do it, and
right.
it's, and it's a choice that we make, and it's a scary choice, but it's an exciting choice. And, I've decided I don't think I would trade it for anything.
Right.
Even though sometimes, I wish I could just get that PTO.
Sure. But it's, it's the long game. It's the benefits that you're going to see from this, while they might not be tomorrow, they'll be there, and they're coming, and all of the goodness from your efforts are going to start flowing. The other side is not that far away.
Right.
It might be 2, 3, 4, even 5 years away. But if we set out to really fulfill what's on our hearts, then we are going to get to the dream we've got.
Right. And I wholeheartedly believe that. But it's, it's about that determination and resiliency and, not giving up on yourself and not giving up on your idea.
Yeah, totally. Well, I can't think of a better way to start to wrap things up than with that thought. So we have a tradition here on the Tea with Abbie show. We do a statement sip, which is a little moment of just something to remember you by.
Yes.
And it's something you love to say, a quote, a mantra, anything. Did you bring something?
I did, but like I said, I feel like it's kind of a little bit of a cliche, and I actually just said it, but
I love cliches.
Okay.
So pick up your coffee.
Okay.
Well, tell me what it is first.
Okay, so, going back to what I said, I think what I tell myself all the time is really never give up. And like I said, it's cliche, and it's kind of boring.
It's true.
Is there a way to make that more exciting?
Yeah, like this. Ready? You're going to look in the camera.
Okay.
We're going to say it together, and then we're going to take a sip of our tea while we stare into the camera. Our coffee. I mean our tea. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Never give up. Cheers to that.
And that is Tea with Abbie. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. This was Sarah Gardner with Established&Co, a collegiate apparel design, fashion forward, innovative things to wear from the schools that you love.
Yes.
How do we find you?
Yes. So we have a website. So established&company.com, all spelled out. We do have Instagram. Our Instagram is Poppin', and it's very popular.
Cool.
Super fun place. So check it out. And then we also have a Facebook page, but I recommend online and Instagram.
Awesome.
But thank you so much. This
has
been so great.
Thank you so much. That's a wrap. Thanks so much for watching Tea with Abbie. Be sure to click subscribe and smack that like button so you can stay tuned. Smack that like button. See that like button? Smack it. Thanks so much for watching an episode of Tea with Abbie. Be sure to click subscribe and smack that like button so you can stay tuned with new episodes all year long. And if you want to learn more about Blended Scents, visit us at our website, www.blendedsense.com, or follow us on social at Blended Scents or at blendedsense.io. See you next week.